What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I'm here today to give you guys a review of the Air Jordan 2 Retro in this lucky green colorway. So this is a brand new colorway of the Air Jordan 2 which dropped back on February 3rd for a price of $175 US or $230 here in Canada. So I grabbed these over at The Closet Inc., which is an independently owned and operated sneaker boutique located right here in Southern Ontario in Canada. So for all my Canadian viewers out there, be sure to check out The Closet Inc. I've linked their website, their social media, all that good stuff down below, so be sure to support the independent shops and tell them I sent you. The official colorway for this shoe is white, lucky green, and sail. So the color blocking style of these Air Jordan 2s is inspired by the OG white and red Air Jordan 2s. Keep in mind, there was only two original Air Jordan 2 colorways, the Chicago or white, red, and black, and the white and red. So for this pair, they pretty much just swap out the red and replace it with this vibrant green. So first things first, here's a quick look at the packaging. So this comes in that OG inspired box, which the Chicago 2s also came in. So we have the Jordan Wings logo on the top, and the bottom of the box is colored in black. So diving into the details of this shoe, the upper of the sneaker for the most part is constructed out of a smooth white leather. So this leather, I have to say, is pretty solid quality. And just like any other Air Jordan 2, we have these perforations which wraps around the entire front half of the sneaker. Overlaid on the front toe cap, we have another overlay of this smooth white leather, and one thing I really liked about this pair is the toe box on this pair is done so well. It has this nice tapered look to it, which is reminiscent of the look of the original Jordan 2s from the late 80s. As far as the eyelets go, so we have these TPU eyelets which are in the middle of the shoe, and you can see they're given a slightly aged look in this cream or off-white color. And then the other eyelets of this shoe, including the bottom and the top four, these are these circular metallic eyelets painted in white. Underneath this, on the mid panel of the shoe, the leather panel here has that signature reptile texture to it, and then underneath this, we have the synthetic layer which transitions from black to green on the forefoot. Surrounding the ankle collar area, this area of the shoe is pretty well padded, and it's covered in that same smooth white leather, which also feels super soft to the touch. And then wrapping around the back of the shoe, we have a TPU heel clip, which is once again done in that cream or off-white color, and then towards the middle it has that signature ribbed look to it, and this area is painted in green. And then the top of the heel is covered in this synthetic green layer, and we have Nike branding embroidered across in black. As far as the laces go, so these only come with one lace option, and they're just your standard flat style lace done in a sail or off-white color. Underneath this, just like the Chicago Jordan 2 Retros that recently released, the tongue on the shoe is also constructed out of a synthetic white leather, which has a disappointing and crunchy feel to the touch, and I gotta say the tongue creases terribly. But at the very top of the tongue, we have another overlay of that synthetic leather, and we have this cutout revealing the Air Jordan Wings logo, which is done in this rubberized fashion in green and black. The back of the tongue and the interior liner of the shoe, this is covered in this green color textile, and then as far as the insoles go, so these come with a polyurethane insole, it's covered in a white textile on top, and we have Nike Air branding stamped on the heel in green. So the upper of the Jordan 2 sits atop a polyurethane foam midsole, which is once again painted in that vintage looking off-white or sail color. Encased within the midsole but not visible to the eye, there is a Nike Air unit which sits underneath the heel, and then turning this pair over to the bottom, this is your standard Air Jordan 2 outsole. So in this case, it's constructed out of a gray and green colored rubber. We have that same circular pivot point on the forefoot, and this wedge in the middle, this is actually exposed foam, which gives it a bit of a softer and squishier feel to the touch. And running down the center of this, we have the Nike word mark. So that breaks down the look and the construction of these lucky green Jordan 2s. And for those wondering about sizing, to me these fit identical to the Chicago Jordan 2s that just released. So my feet measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side. I got these in a size 10, and they fit me well in a slightly roomy way. So I feel like if you're someone that's in between sizes, I would recommend going down to the smaller size. So for example, if your foot actually measures as a true 8.75 for example, then I would recommend going down to the 8.5 instead of the 9. But if the size of your foot is actually at a full size, I think just sticking with that true size should be good for you. If you don't mind a little bit extra room in the toe box, I'd say that there's just over an index finger's width between the edge of the shoe and the top of my toe, so it really depends on how you like your shoes to fit. Moving on to the comfort, so the Jordan 2, in my opinion, is a decently comfortable shoe for everyday casual use. Keep in mind the technology within the sneaker is pretty outdated, but there's definitely a ton of step-in comfort and softness with this foam midsole. So I'd say that compared to, for example, an Air Jordan 1, the Jordan 1 by far feels a lot more stiff and more firm. You do get a lot more ground feel, whereas the Jordan 2, you feel a bit more elevated off the ground. There's more cushioning and softness, but it does feel more chunky and more boat-like on foot. Finally, in terms of the overall quality and craftsmanship, so first off, material quality, I thought it was pretty good. The leather, like I mentioned before, has a nice soft feel to it, and you can tell that it's a genuine cut of leather. As I run my fingers across the upper, you can see those natural leather grains, and it doesn't have an overly fake debossed print on it that a lot of other Nike or Jordan releases usually have. But like I mentioned before, the materials used on the tongue was pretty bad. It has a very strong synthetic feel to it, almost plastic-like, so that was disappointing. And I'm not sure if the original Jordan 2s from the 80s featured a similar material on their tongue, but whether it did or not, I'm not a fan of it at all. But from a build and craftsmanship standpoint, I thought my pair was pretty flawless. The stitch job was solid, the paint job was good, there were no visible glue stains or anything like that. Everything lined up and looked consistent. So I pretty much had no complaints from that aspect about these Jordan 2s. So with all that out of the way now, let me toss these lucky green 2s on feet and I show you guys how these look. The Jordan 2, let's face it, it's not the most popular Air Jordan silhouette out there. Sandwiched between the 1 and the 3, it's definitely sitting in a tough spot. And while I wouldn't say that it's one of my favorite Air Jordan silhouettes, it's definitely a model that I appreciate, especially when it comes to the right colorways. So I think with the lucky green Jordan 2s, this is a very clean and simple colorway. Like I mentioned before, it's just a swap of the red to a green with some vintage touches added to the shoe, which I thought looked really nice. The shade of green is nice and vibrant, and I think it pairs very well with the otherwise plain and muted look of the rest of the shoe. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about these Air Jordan 2s in this lucky green color. What are your overall thoughts on this colorway? And for anyone watching, did you guys also pick these up? Are you potentially waiting for these to go on sale? Or is a Jordan 2 or this colorway not really for you and it was an easy pass? If you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at esco8, follow my Twitter at sean.go, and visit my website at seango.ca. So until next time, thank you everyone for watching. Another shout out goes out to The Closet Inc., and I'll catch you guys all in my next review.